I've gotten up and like gone to work, I have wanted to like listen to morning tea on my way to work because I'm just like, what's going on? You know, what's happening? What is CLC and everybody else in Prague got to say about what's going on? You know, I want the tea. I need morning tea.
Queen of the top 5. Who would have thunk that's happening? Sorry, I'm laughing at someone backstage whose internet is real bad. It's Christian Nyman levels of bad. But joining me for sure is Mitchell Stokes.
Hey, I'm back.
He's back again.
Back,
When you thought it was safe
back
to go
again.
outside, bam! The sequel.
I've been so let me say a few things off the top here. I've been absolutely loving the season. I have been very much like following and aware of what has been going on. I have just been busy as fuck and have been like work and life have just kept me like away from tea, away from hosting challenges, and so if you haven't seen me enough, you're gonna get it today because I am ready to go.
Yes. Josh might be joining us. I don't know. Maybe?
Yes.
Gonna go with no for now. But let's get into where we left off. We just left off on live night where Trey was the HOH, decided to nominate. Who did he nominate? He nominated Jabbar and Lamont. Jabbar wins the veto. Michael volunteers go up on the block. Michael goes up, and Lamont is sent out 4-0, which we'll get to because Trey has a lot of thoughts on what Liv should be doing with her HOH when he should have done it, I don't know, 2 days ago.
And this is where we're gonna start to differ just right off the bat. Like, I get it. I understand the sentiment. Trey, if you wanted Megs out, do it yourself. I get that. However, I will continue to maintain if you do not put your foot on the bug, squish it, turn the foot to make sure it's dead, then it will be in the final 2. And that was the case. What they needed that's really what they needed to do in the moment with the Luis and Lamont side and Jabbar side of things. I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with them taking Lamont out at live night from that perspective. I totally understand the like, if you wanted Megs out so bad, you should have just taken her out. But then it's like, then it's all out war and Lamont sitting in the final 2.
Oh,
so like I just from a strategic sense, I felt like they made the right decision at live night from just the start.
I mean, did I see Lamont winning this game? No, not really. So
right.
No,
they don't have that perspective.
No,
and if Lamont is able to, and if Lamont gets to the end and is able to say, I outlasted every single person who was taking a shot at me, and he has Jabbar, Nikki, Louise sitting on the jury advocating for him, baby.
Oh, very, very valid. Sorry, I think folks are and my dog are now up. Maybe just the dog. We'll see.
And this is super fair. Alex Lamont was not doing well in the comps so far this season. However, if they took a shot at Megs, Dancing Queen would have fucking imploded and would have started targeting themselves this round instead. So yes, you can beat Lamont in a comp, but it doesn't matter that when Liv and Megs and Megan and Trey and Michael's alliance implodes and they all start targeting each other, and then Lamont's sitting at the end no matter what. So.
Oh, I spoke too soon. Oh, when you thought it was now definitely not safe to go outside, it's definitely not safe to go outside.
The air quality warning just went into effect.
I'm dead.
The air is unsafe. I have returned from my trip.
Oh
yes. Me and Lee making our return appearances to morning tea. It's true.
The air is polluted. I got in very late due to a delay where they had like this whole. We had to wait on a crew member that wasn't working the flight. But they were like, hey, if they don't make it here, there's 200 people that are going to be stranded tomorrow morning. I was like, the way to appeal to me is not to tell me that me being late will help other people. The air quality is very polluted right now.
I'm dead. Alrighty, so we have to work our way up to current day events. But post live night, they have a longer round just because our live HOH is not until pretty late tonight because Trey. Oh well, I guess Trey took the day off. But at the time when we made the schedule, Trey was gonna be working, so we might move it up. I don't know.
He went home sick, I think, is what happened.
Yeah, he called out sick, so he's at home. So it was gonna be super late tonight because Trey doesn't get home until like 9:45 Eastern. So that's why we're like, fuck it, just put the eviction today. Like they're not gonna do anything all day, so might as well just like give them a longer round. But they're taking full opportunity to start kind of mapping out their end game. Megan is very worried about having Liv, Megs, and Jabbar all here at the final six, specifically Liv and Megs. She really wants one of them to leave ASAP here. And she's really trying to get Trey and Michael to kind of rally with her to take on the like perceived bigger threats.
Which is correct. Because right now, Jabbar, Megs, and Liv will mollywop the fuck out of anyone else they sit in finale with. So they are not wrong.
No matter what the jurors say right now, because their rankings, they have acknowledged that their rankings are based off of who they want to win versus who should win. So, like, as much as we told you who was winning the vote, I think they know that those things were skewed.
I have a little bit of a hot take here, and this is not shade at Megan, but it's just kind of shade in general. But the whole thing about like the bigger threats thing, if you're worried about bigger threats, become a bigger threat.
I don't think that's a fair statement to make.
Well,
because that just inherently means that you're good. Like in a Big Brother sense, that means you have to be good at comp, and that's just not everyone's strong suit.
No,
so I don't think that's a fair statement to make.
I don't think that's the only thing, but I just think that it's like I think that juries respect someone who is confident in their game. You can become a threat in a lot of other ways, and I think that you see a lot more tunnel vision right now. And
right, but the immediate threat is the people who are going to win the comps and can either win their way to the end or are going to have influence over the end game, which is always super important. So I think when you say big threat in Big Brother, 90% of the time that relates to competition ability, just because they're going to dominate and get at least have a shot to make their case in the end.
I
not a guarantee that you win, but you at least are going to be there.
Yeah, they are likely a threat to you getting to the end. That I will agree with. Yeah, I think it's the right read, but I think the problem is that everyone is so tunnel vision on seeing what is the right.
What a screen grab! What a freeze! I love that.
Please, someone screen grab that. Okay, you're back.
Oh, sorry.
Just kidding. You're not back. Okay, you're back.
What happened?
Oh, you have.
Girl,
you're
dead
frozen twice. You spoke ill of Megan, and Megan hacked your fucking Wi-Fi, babes.
It's honestly that's what's true.
Oh,
I put a hex on your internet. Actually, is what happened.
It probably deserved. No, but it's just people get so tunnel vision on what's best for their game and maybe not what is best for the person actually making the decisions. And I think that like while both can exist and both are correct,
I think that's what makes Liv and Megs great players. That's what separates good players from great players. And like, and we're gonna talk about this a lot, I'm assuming, when we get to the Liv of it all. But like, just to like precursor all this, that's really what separates great players from good players. And Liv and Megs both have this ability to put themselves in other people's shoes and say, I understand that from their perspective, this is what they should be doing. And like, I'm hoping that they don't do it, but this is what the best move for that other person is. That's why they're great players. Megan and Trey, I think, are playing really well, and I think they're making they want the right, for their game, in their perspective and scope, they are doing the right thing for them. And they are hoping that all that will happen and play out for them and for their game, but they're not putting themselves in the other person's shoes. And I think that like it's just such an important thing to remember is that everyone else is playing the game. You have to be able to see what they see. And that's what makes, like I said, what makes Liv and Megs both great players is that their ability to do that and their ability to function and work around that.
I think my issue, and Trey is a little bit better at this, and I think that they have moments, but it's like if you're not winning a bunch of comps, I think you have to be a little more influential, or at least be able to pose things in a way that makes things seem better ideas. Like if Caro was still here, I think Caro had a much better way of persuading people. Jabbar has an excellent sense of persuasion. And I think that what they're having a hard time doing is persuading people to see things that are for their benefit and outside of just Megan or Trey's benefit.
No, and I think that, I mean, and post live night, they're kind of having that discussion of, did we wait too long in regards to Megs and Liv? Like Trey is
Rated.
and I mean, Trey's like, did I fuck up? Should I just have put Megs up at live night? And Megan's like, no, because of Liv's power. And sure, like, do I think that Liv, with her steal a vote, add in Michael voting, would all save Megs there? Absolutely. And Megs doesn't go home. But you at least, you force the option. You force Liv to have to show her cards. Liv has to show she's going to prioritize Megs over you. You now have a better sense of standing with her at 7 than you do now. They're realizing here at 6 that she's going to still prioritize Megs for her longevity. So
it doesn't help though that Michael volunteers.
Oh, absolutely. Michael absolutely put Trey. Well, Trey also asked for a volunteer when he shouldn't have asked one because he didn't want one.
He shouldn't have. But even then, just don't volunteer. And then Trey can just do whatever he was going to do anyway and spin a wheel, but the wheel always lands on Megs. but Michael volunteering is just so bewildering that a person at the final 7 would volunteer to go on the block.
Oh, okay. Listen. I hear you, Lee. I hear you. But it's Michael. Like, and that's the thing is, like, Michael just has such a different perspective on things. He fully, especially, like, you have to think of it from his perspective too, where all day everyone in Dancing Queen was like, we are going to get through this no matter what. We're booting Nikki and then we're booting Lamont at live night. Like, it does not matter. This is the plan. We're not doing anything other than this plan. Yeah. And he alleviates the pressure off of Trey, which I think is a decent social move. I don't have an issue with it. Yes, I agree with you. Volunteering to go on the block at Final 7 is fucking stupid. Like, you should never do that. However,
it's bewildering to me that Michael did it. It's just bewildering to me in a game where so many votes have flipped in different directions and people have not done what they've said they're going to do. You never want to risk your life here. If this was a predictable, like, every vote has happened as the HOH intended, blah, 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 then sure, volunteer your ass up on the block and trust your alliance. But this has not been a season to do that.
No, fair. I mean, again, like, of course, I also hate the move of him volunteering, but, like, again, it worked for who Michael is. Michael doesn't know that Trey's even considering Megs. He still is. If we told him right now that Megs would go home on the block, he would be shocked. He'd be like, "What?
And that is it. That's
I thought
we're
Dancing Queen strong, or not Dancing Queen strong."
Yes. That no one else has clued Michael in to what needs to happen here. Yeah. Trey and Megan have just recently started saying, we have got to get these 3 out if we want to have a shot to win this game. If any of the 3 of them want a shot to win the game, we have got to get out Liv, Bar, and Megs. They're just now saying it. They're too late though. He's already swooped up. They're too late.
But the conversation was Megs, Liv, and Jabbar. So from his perspective, he's like, oh, well, they'll take out Jabbar here because we're Dancing Queen. It's like Jabbar has to go first and then Liv and Megs. And that's the issue. So, but like,
and I don't necessarily disagree. And that's the thing is, like, and I think we'll get there, is that if the only issue I have with this whole narrative that we're going to have, I think, is Megan saying maybe we should keep Jabbar if Michael goes up on the block. I think that's a giant mistake for her. That's my biggest issue with anything concerning the Liv HOH, which we haven't even gotten to yet. That my only issue is with them saying we have one of them on the block and we're not taking a shot at one of the 3 people who will clearly whoop our ass in the finale. Like that would be a mistake. But thankfully Trey has some sense on his head about it. And I don't think Megan is like committed to pushing that narrative, but like the fact that she even considered it for a second, I was like, girl, I'm about to drive to Charlotte. I'm about to beat your door down.
Yeah. Girl,
Well,
you
but
know-
Like,
but knowing how the jury perceives Jabbar, obviously they don't know that, but like knowing how, I mean, I guess they could perceive a little bit based on they've played with these people. Like Jabbar is definitely not a front runner to win.
not right now. But
but-
come
if
after
he makes it to the end,
he can craft any story to fit his needs. Yes.
and once and if the final isn't 2 dancing queens, Erica, Sarah's all pissed about that alliance that they were left out of it. Louise is not happy that it happened. Lamont's not happy that it happened. Niki's not happy. That's 5 people right there who are anti-dancing queens.
I guess for my
Period.
thing is it's like, yes, Megan just won a comp, and yes, Trey has won 2 comps, but their track record in comps has not been great. And so you have to really attach yourself at this point to people who can win the in-game comps that you think are going to help you get to the end. And so if Megan thinks that Jabbar is more likely to get her to the end, I don't hate that, because right now she's looking at, will Jabbar take me to the end, or will Liv not take me to the end? It's not even a matter of can I win at the end. Now, if Megan starts doing well in these end game comps, then it's a different conversation. And she could.
well, and let's talk about it.
I mean,
5 Fates of Fortune, she
munched.
ate the fuck out of that
She
trivia question.
munched
So
those.
whereas I was like sitting here wondering how much, because I know Liv talks about studying. We know Michael isn't studying. Trey talks about studying a little bit. Jabbar obviously, and Meg's obviously know to study. Megan is really the unknown here because she's never made it this far in a game before.
The whole
Has
game
anyone?
knows how to study.
I mean, she does, and that's absolutely the case. So I think it was just kind of like I was kind of curious where Megan was with the studying, and she showed the fuck out when it came to at least knowing, the way that the challenges in the game. So, she might be a big threat towards the end here. We don't know.
Could be.
I'm very intrigued to see what she has in store, because I was not expecting the mollywop she put upon these people in that challenge, and not even the cup ones. Like, I know she's good at cups, but like she mollywopped the fuck out of these people on the more mental challenges, where like she has not thrived this season. She's not done well in the more mental type of challenges. She's been beaten, and she crushed it. So I'm very intrigued to see this fire that's under Megan right now. But all props to Megan. She's trying to pave the end game she wants to see with Michael. Obviously, Michael, it says he's down for the cause, but when push comes to shove, we'll see what he actually is willing to do, because Megs and Liv at this point in time are his top people. But she's trying her hardest to pave the path she wants, which is a final 3 of her, Trey, and Michael. And then,
which I think is a great final 3 for her and for Trey, because specifically Trey, I think if Michael wins final HOH, he's taking Trey 100% of the time. So Megan, unfortunately, is kind of in a situation where we talked about preseason, where no one's taking her to the end. I don't think anyone here says, yep, Megan is the person I want to sit with at the final 2. Maybe Trey, but I think Trey is too much of a gamer to be sitting at final 3 with Megan and Michael and say, I'm gonna wipe the floor with Michael. Like, he's not gonna take Megan.
Like, you take that. So yeah, we'll have to see there. But yeah, I think a great move for Megan to start paving what she wants and something that's like the most beneficial to her. And she also did well in Suspicion. Yep, nope, she absolutely did. Too many zeros, too many commas, but which that will be revisionist history as to what the fuck she wants it to be in terms of did she throw, did she not throw? She can have that all she fucking wants.
Do you think though? Okay, so thinking about like, in the sense of, how crazy is it to keep Jabbar? Thinking about what Megan is good at, thinking about what Jabbar is good at, if she prioritizes, because Megan, she can't win everything. Like, she can win a lot of things, but she can't win everything that's left. Like,
sure,
mathematically, she just can't. And so looking at Michael's performance in Five Fates, she also can't depend on Michael to win those in-game comps to help her get further. So maybe if you're thinking about that though and weighing, like, is Jabbar better for your game or is Michael? Like, she probably thinks I could beat Jabbar in the in-game comps now, thinking at her performance in the trivia. But if Jabbar can win things and help her get further, Michael can't.
Yeah. I get it.
Well, that's the thing is, I think Michael's done winning. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
maybe final
like
3
part one.
HOH.
Yeah.
He could win tonight. Tonight's HOH, like, theoretically is possible for him to win. Like,
is it no vacancy?
It's a version of war tonight. So like
okay.
he could win it.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. But yeah, other than tonight and then maybe part 1 of final HOH, that's kind of it. And he maybe could luck into part 3.
Yeah. I mean, like part 3 of the social is
social.
truly kind of social, so he could certainly win that. But I think it's just unlikely that we see Michael winning a lot of comps down the stretch here. He's just unfortunately, and this is no slight at Michael. That's not me trying to like dump on him in any capacity. He's just not shown the ability to like quick on the fly understand the rules or understand the more complicated types of things that are going on, and we know he's not studying. So it's like, unfortunately, I just don't see it. If he wins, I'm gonna be super happy for him because that's awesome, but I just don't see it based on the information we have right now.
Yeah. Like if Michael's in Final Four, he is a Final Four final nominee.
Unless the HOH wins.
Also in veto, yeah,
and keeps him off. But yeah, agreed. Like
that happened too. I don't know if y'all caught that the other day, where Michael didn't realize that the HOH nominations at Final Four were irrelevant.
Yeah, because when Liv needs to find a renom, she's like, Michael, I think I have to put you up here, but like you can absolutely put me up at Final Four, at the Final Four round of your HOH. And he goes, oh, Liv, you don't have to promise that, and like fully not getting the joke that Liv is making a joke, being like, my trade-off to you is you can irrelevantly nominate me at Final Four.
Right.
At this point though, like, Liv can say that shit and it doesn't matter because like we've already said she has to win these comps.
Yeah, and she knows that. She knows. Her and Megs know it's do or die at this point.
I think my one thing in like my one disagreement with that statement where Liv said like she knows she has to win. I think she does. Like, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think she's playing in a way that I feel like she's trying to set things up so she doesn't have to, which is the case like with why she wants to keep Megs around, and I totally get that. But like, I just think it's a little naive of her to think like that is, if this goes well and Megs is an option, that it won't be her because she is just as much of a threat.
Really
it
is like it could flip on her.
My thing is, I think ultimately, I actually think she should take out Megs. She should take out Megs here because Megs is probably her biggest threat to winning out down the stretch.
It's possible.
That's my take. I think that's my take on this whole situation, because if you think, especially if you think you're in a position where you have to win out, then you should be doing everything in your power to eliminate your opposition and the person that's going to potentially give you a run for your money.
That's the thing, is I think this veto shook her though, where her and Megs got beat
last.
Got fucking.
But this is a skills competition. But it's a skills competition. Like, it's not really an indication of Liv knows what the end game is going to look like. She's not stupid.
Trivia, and she knows
exactly.
That. So I think today really, or the veto really shook her, where she got bested.
But I feel like if you look at the history of our game, there has been a game trivia component like at Final 6, Final 5, Final 4, and Final 3, like pretty much every season. So like, if you're thinking that that's your strength and your thing you can win out, you only have to win one comp around, like, and you have 2 opportunities to do it.
I think
she did go ahead.
I think her concern is, what if the game trivia is the HOH at 5 and it's not the veto at 5 and she can't play that? Lucky for her, the game trivia component at 5 is the veto. But like,
you never want to win
and 5. That's the thing that Liv Liv's that is super impressive about Liv's brain is because I think she actually has had that thought.
Mhm.
She probably has thought about it like that, and my brain just doesn't function like that. I'd be like,
I might be making up words. She has not formally said that, but I'm wondering if
no, but it sounds like something she would think of,
concern.
like with
Mhm.
how in depth she goes in her thoughts. Like,
Yeah, I wonder if that's her concern, but also, I don't know what I was gonna say, but I mean, Lee, you say it because it's pretty much on the same wavelength.
I was just gonna. She did recognize that you don't want to be HOH at 5 as soon
No.
as you win. And the thing is knowing what the HOH is at 5, you could absolutely fall into Final 5 HOH not wanting it, and
Yeah,
then and a
absolutely.
person like Liv needs both of her chances at Final 4 to save herself. She does not.
but here's the thing: if Liv can't win HOH, Megan and Trey don't give a damn about being Final 5 HOH. They want the power. So one of them will win, I think, and one of them will nominate Megs and Liv for
Yeah,
eviction.
that's a shot.
Like,
Or Megs wins.
I don't think I mean, yeah, I guess that's possible, but
I mean,
I
Megs
just
is
think,
gunning for it. It's just a question of will
yeah.
she win?
I think yes, I agree with you that I think that they will gun for it, but I think that their games hinge on different components. Like a person like Liv needs her 2 chances at 4. And so you would rather have your 1 chance at 5 and your 2 chances at 4 rather than 2 chances at 5 only to get 4th place.
Because she has the right read. I mean, we'll get there. We'll put a pause on this. Let's get there really, really quickly because there's not much to get to this moment. Like we're just at that point of the game where there's just not much happening.
Right.
But so you've got Trey and Megan together who are trying to scoop up Michael with a little bit of connection to Jabbar with Bathroom D and hoping that they can take the shot at Megs and Liv first. But Jabbar is obviously still mad at Trey from Live Night because of how he said Lamont and Jabbar, you're on the block, and this is for Caro. Yada yada yada. And Jabbar did say after Live Night to Liv that only Liv would be safe and those boys better watch out. But he never said he would nominate Trey and Michael. But Liv definitely ran and told Trey that he would be going up under Jabbar. But so like Jabbar's in this very precarious position, and you've got Megs and Liv who had a deal to get through Live Night, and now that deal is extending temporarily to the Final 4. They want a Final 4 of Michael and Trey along with them. Meg seems more down for this deal than Liv does. Liv is saying she will cut Megs at 5 if given the opportunity, but if Megs wins HOH at 5, obviously there's no opportunity there. But Liv is definitely crafting this deal with Megs to have a Final 4 of Michael and Trey, hoping to cut Jabbar and Megan in some shape, way, or form. At the HOH, Liv, who who knows if she wanted it or not. Like she goes back and forth if she wanted it or she didn't want it. She felt like it was something Megs could have done well at. And in that case, I mean, she was right. She should have just like sat in her hands and and just not done anything. But she took fate into her own hands and she won it. And again, like I don't hate winning HOH at 6. I think it's way better to win at 6 than win at 5, but that's my personal opinion. And I think for someone like Liv who gets so in her fucking head, like you saw it in before and after in 16, you saw it at finale night where she's just so in her fucking head and she just panics and I don't think she wants that for herself to only have the Final 4 veto. And I think that's why she's wanting to keep Megs here, because if she only has the Final 5 veto with Megs out, knowing it's do or die, like she's going to panic and she's going to lose because she has so much stress that she can't handle it. But Liv wins it. They're not.
Well, okay, wait, sorry. Is that not enough reason for her to take Megs out at 6? If that is your fear, if that is what you're concerned about, should that not be the, well, we have the chance right now? It's the same argument you're making about why Trey can't be upset about why he didn't take Megs out, and then now you have Liv sitting here not taking Megs out. Like we're just letting Meg walk to the end. And if that's our biggest concern is being able to get her out, well, you can get her out right now.
But she feels safe with Meg. Like if Megs wins HOH, she feels safe, and that's
it's her only avenue to maybe surviving 5. Liv has got to get to 4. That is all that matters to Liv, is getting to 4.
Yeah.
And this is her one additional avenue other than that veto at 5 to get there, in my opinion.
The only thing that's kind of like weird for me is that Liv is like, I can't take her out now, but I want her to go next round.
Yeah, she wants her to
That's
leave.
the only thing that I'm kind of like trying to
But
wrap.
that's why I think it's weird to me. That's why I don't like. I
But-
understand what y'all are saying, that if Megs
Yeah,
wins, Megs will help Liv get to 4. I
Right.
get
She
that.
needs Megs to go at 5 specifically. She needs her to go at 5.
Yeah, she'd like her to go at 5. Yeah, because if Megs doesn't win HOH, then great. But like obviously she's kind of banking on the fact that Megs is gonna win HOH at 5, which she doesn't know the challenge. We know the challenge, so it's not a bank for Megs. But like she's banking on Megs winning at 5. That's kind of her opinion that it's gonna happen. But she's like,
And
if she doesn't win at 5,
those are two avenues for Liv to survive at 5. Either Megs winning and potentially keeping Liv safe, which is unlikely, but it's potential. And I wouldn't even say unlikely. I would just say
I think it's likely.
It's a potential avenue, and then the other avenue is obviously Megs going at 5. Megs going here gives Liv one chance to survive at 5, and that is through the veto.
The other thing that's really hard is that Liv accurately clocks that there are groupings of people that would like Megs to leave. Therefore, those people stay strong at 5 and don't have Liv's back. Whereas if you're taking Jabbar out, you're taking anything out that he was a part of. And those people probably need Liv because they've already said they don't want Megs. So
yeah, she has
and there is the risk of like Megs can beat you in competitions, but I think that is the only reason that you would consider taking Megs out. I think Megs represents a whole lot more for Liv's game at the moment.
The thing I respect about Liv's game though is that she thinks about every little piece of
she does.
puzzle that she can say like, I need you here, but I don't need you after here. And she can think about it so methodically. And I know that she's going to be able to tell that story if she gets there to the end. She's going to be able to tell it very well because this is a whole roadmap for her that she's drawn up. Yeah. And the blueprints of it have included like this really nice, like building the bond and making amends with Megs after the pre-jury, knowing how long like that relationship can last, and knowing exactly why, and really circumventing these other relationships. So it's like, while we can say the good move, yes, I am of the camp that part of it taking Megs out here isn't a bad idea, but it's what you're leaving in as a result that is way more dangerous for her.
The only additional problem that Liv will run into, and she's unaware of it and she can only do what's in front of her, is that the jury's going to sit on a move of like, well, why didn't you think about Megs? Why didn't you read on Megs? Like that, I think the jury will at least question that, like on its surface or on the face of it.
Hell, maybe the people in the game are questioning it.
Yeah, and I think he just has to say, well, I wanted Jabbar out right then, and I didn't want to give people a choice.
Right. Yeah, the people in the game questioning it while in the same breath saying that that they'll take Megs out over Liv.
Oh, I literally almost threw my laptop across the room last night, but we'll get to that moment where I was like, do y'all not see it? Are y'all not like comprehending what you just said? Because that's exactly why she's doing what she's doing. But whatever.
Right, but they can have their cake and eat it too. That's my opinion. Like that's my opinion. They're allowed to be upset and also like want her to do it for what's good for them, and then be upset when she doesn't. That they're allowed to feel that way. Like
when you're on the jury, though, like once you become on the jury, you kind of can't be upset anymore that person did something that didn't do something that only advantaged you.
But my frustration isn't that they're upset. My frustration is that they like are acting like they think this is a dumb move. They're like, this made no fucking sense. But I would still vote out Megs here. And I'm like, but then I don't think you get why it does make sense.
Like, if her objective is to protect Megs and get rid of Jabbar, and she's told you from the beginning, my objective, my target is Jabbar, and you're not telling her, like, we would want to vote out Megs, like, you're trying to double cross her just as much as she's trying to prevent you from double crossing her.
Yeah, like,
yeah, it's fun, but
yeah,
it's fun.
It's fun. We'll get there because I'm getting heated. That's why I make iced coffee, so I don't get so heated.
Stop.
But Liv wins her leisurely attempt at Tuzzle. She's nominating Jabbar and Megan. Jabbar's the target. She's nominating Megan because she has, one, no relationship with her in relation to the other Dancing Queen members. 2, she is most fearful that Megan would be the person to try and work with Jabbar here, and ultimately just
He would
wants.
have.
Yeah, and as you saw literally last night, she's contemplating it. And ultimately her final 4 plan as of right now was Megs, Trey, Michael, and herself. Obviously, Megs being there because she wins Final 5 HOH, not by Liv's choice, but by Liv's assumption that she will be there regardless. And she's starting to map out her end game too. She wants Michael in the end with her. Trey gets booted at 3 and Megs at 4. Megan at 5, Jabbar at 6 is her ideal boot order. And she's gonna figure out renom if needed, but hopefully she doesn't need to. But lulls on that. Lulls on that. This is where she throws Jabbar under to Trey, being like, she was pissed about your Caro's revenge comment, which Jabbar is saying is a full out. Again, he's pulling the Lamont of it all. Like, I didn't say I would nominate Trey. I said that those boys better watch out. That's all I said. So, like, she's reading between the lines, and he's mad, and Jabbar's mad that Liv is reading between the lines. Who knows? Whatever. Blah blah blah. But that's kind of her mentality for her HOH. She calls Jabbar, and this is why I love Jabbar so much. She is like, "Hey Jabbar, I'm putting you up next to Megan," and Jabbar goes, "Oh, so I'm the target if you're putting me up next to Megan." And Liv goes, "Okay, yeah, you're the target. Yep." And Jabbar's just laughing and having a good time. I think Jabbar also has like hit a point of just like exhaustion from being nominated so much. His allies to him so much. He knows he's a huge threat in this game. He knows it. But like, that's why I love Jabbar so much. He's just like, "Yep, you got me. Good work."
I mean, I think
like,
at this point, anyone at Final 6 on in this type of season that is saying that being told they're the target, it's like, you have to understand.
And he gets it.
Understand that they're going against you, but like, you have to be like, you can't be totally shocked that you're being seen as a threat if you've made it at this point.
Yeah. He gets it though, and that's why I just love Jabbar so much, is he's willing to sit back and go, "Yeah, work. Ta-ta." Calls Megan.
And I think he's also, maybe this is me like retconning this, a little bit, like, and being maybe like, but I think Jabbar is smart enough as a player to almost assess that like him fighting doesn't do a lot for him here. He's got to sit back and let maybe someone else be chaotic and decide to make a flip, like, because he's been very hands off since the nominations, and I almost wonder if that's strategic in a sense to be like, let's let them spiral and let's let them think about the end game without me nudging and see what happens, because
he has the benefit
know.
of the fact that this round, for being the end of the game, we stretched it to 3 days. So he's got plenty of time for them to spiral.
I think my hot take on this too is like, we've gone back and forth on whether Liv needed this, whether or not, but I think my hot take is that this has actually been pretty beneficial for Liv, no matter the outcome here, because I think it's allowing her to see a lot of the dynamics that are kind of swirling around her that maybe she wasn't aware, because a lot of people are tipping their hands on what they want. So whether it's like Jabbar up,
also tipping her hand though, that's the issue. She's tipped her hand like fucking crazy last night.
You kind of have to, though. I mean, you kind of have to if you don't want to do what some people are pressuring you into doing. But I think just as much as she's tipping her hand, they're tipping theirs. Like, why are they? It makes her think, like, why is this person pushing this so hard when I'm saying this is not what I want? And then even where you get to like Meg saying, "Oh, I think Liv has given me too much," I've started to realize that like Liv is talking to both Trey and Michael together. And so it's helping people put together some of this information that, if Megs gets out of this round, and she will, but if she gets out of this round, it helps her see more of this structure happening around too.
A lot's happening here, and shockingly here at the top 6, a lot of leaky faucets, maybe unintentionally here, but like on that call with Trey where Liv calls her and Liv's like, Trey, like our final four's got to be with Megs and Michael, and Trey's like, well, I don't know about Megs. Like, I like her, but I don't know if I have full trust in her for final four just yet. And Trey gets mad obviously when Liv doesn't consider Megs as the renom here, but I'm like, but you did that to yourself, babes. Had you said, oh, Megs, love Megs, oh, would never vote out Megs, then she would have felt maybe more comfortable with Michael and Trey being the voters and sending Jabbar here. But instead, he's like, oh, I don't know about Megs. And that's why Liv's like, oh, Megs doesn't feel safe with Trey. Trey told me he does not trust Megs. So she's like, I'm not going to gamble it. He sold it.
That's how Trey and Meg's relationship has been since day 3 or 4. Like they have never had a strong relationship.
They've always been told they should work together by mutual allies, like Caro, people like that. I think the issue is, though, it's like, unless you're planning to, like, none of these people prioritize Liv. None of them want to take Liv to the end. So you can't say, like, this is why we should take Megs out because we're working together. Like, none of them intend to do that. So instead, if you're planning to vote out Megs when, you know, like when Liv is saying what her intention is or what her goal is for the round, you do have to lie. You do have to say, like, I'm not going to go against what you want before a nom.
Listen, to be fair, everyone that Liv has prioritized or who has prioritized Liv in this game, Liv has voted out. So I don't blame them.
And she'd do it again.
I don't blame them for not prioritizing.
She's
Liv.
not like proud to vote against them. Like,
right.
Did she have a chance, or did she have a choice? When Erica left, it seemed like, I mean, at least in Liv's perspective, when Erica left, it didn't seem like Erica had a chance. It's not like Liv was the deciding vote that sent any of her out.
I mean, in fairness, you could almost say the same thing about Jabbar. Like, that's the nature of like a side versus side kind of game here down the stretch. So
it's just like,
I'm talking about like specifically like Louise, like who the reason Liv is sitting here in the final 6 is because Louise flipped over to vote to save her. Like that's just one example, but like Louise talked about, I mean, not Louise, Liv talked about yesterday how every person who voted for her in that vote has since voted out of the game.
Louise has not proved, though, to be a steady and good, consistent ally to Liv, though. It's like, while you may do one good thing for me this round, these people have been flip-flopping all over the house.
She's opportunistic. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. Liv is opportunistic. She's going to do what's best for her. She's going to pay whatever path gets her to the end. She doesn't care who she has to cut along the way. She's going to feel bad about it. She hates conflict. It's very evident on day 31 because she pisses off Trey and Michael to no extent because she is so unwilling to just have conflict in the game. She is so badly wanting everyone to like her still that she's unwilling to just say what needs to be said, which is, Michael, you're going up. I'm sorry. Trey, you're saving Michael. Meg's is saving Michael. We're done here. Good night. End call. But like, she hates conflict, but yeah, she just needs to buck up a little bit. Love Liv dearly. She's got to buck up a little bit. But she ends up, but let's get to the veto and all of the aftermath here, what we just alluded to. Megan knows she's going up. Jabbar knows he's going up. No one has really any dissension here. Megan trusts Dancing Queens to eat out Jabbar if she stays on the block against him. Her and Megs are debriefing, basically saying, yeah, Megan's after you, Megs. And tells Megs that, hey, Trey is not like fully on board for the final 4 yet, but like we can get there. But just like, I'm still down. We still just we gotta keep working together because everyone's coming after us. And Megs is very much being like, you can't renominate me here because they're all going to vote me out. You can't do that. And Meg's doing a great job of being like, Liv, don't do it. You can't do it. They're all going to vote me out. You know they're going to do it. So I think it's a great idea to keep instilling that fear into Liv. And I think that really helps when Liv ultimately has to come to that decision. Not that it matters, but Bathroom D was discussing, and Trey's like, if I win, I'll use it. And Trey told me that he would use it. He would have used it on Jabbar had he won it. And then I guess at that point, then worked to save Megan with the vote, I guess. But it seemed like that might have been a potential avenue there. But it doesn't matter because Megan absolutely obliterates the veto so hard that we've not seen a beast like this since season 13. The first time we did this challenge. when Eric wins in all 120 possibilities. We have not had that in so many seasons. We've always had
Very high probabilities
high
across the
probabilities,
board. Yeah.
but
Does that just mean she won every category, or
No.
she didn't win every category, but 4 of them were out because they were dead last in something, so they couldn't win regardless. Right. And then only her and Trey weren't dead last in something, and she beat Trey in every category. So Trey never beats Megan in any situation. So no matter which wheel combination we get, Megan's winning. She was first in I think 3 of them, second in 1 and third in the other, but like an absolute domination of this challenge. Like, great time management, knew exactly where to prioritize her time. I mean, she only spent like a minute and a half on the words and had 36 words, had sextuple, whatever the fuck the term for 6 times more than some of these people who spent an additional like 45 seconds on it. Like Michael took 2 minutes and 11 seconds to write 5 words, and she took a minute and a half and had 36. Like, she knew exactly where to put her time. Very, very strong. Very happy for her that she can win something, because homegirl has been in her fucking feels about not winning anything. And we've been trying to like tell her, you don't need to win shit to win. Like,
it's
winning
her first ever BBH win, right? First ever?
No.
She won HOH with Charade, yeah. With Griffin.
This is her first solo win. But she's just been in her feels a lot, just because sure, like winning is helpful to push your agenda. It's very helpful.
Do you think because this veto, like, it was one she may not have needed it, but she needed it in the sense that she was a nominee. Do you think that the jury perceives this any differently based on the 15 million of it all? Like, that was a weird move where it was like she was so obviously throwing, even though we know she wasn't really, but then she kind of.
I think the jury was excited to see her
they were happy
win
for
something. Yeah, they were like, she needed that, I think, was kind of what, because that's what they've been I don't think, to me, it doesn't matter as much that it was a veto and she was on the block. I think it just mattered that she won. Like, that was the sense that I got from them, because that was kind of what they were saying at Live Night. They were like, she should have won that veto. Like, she should have, she needed to win that to show something, right? Like, her ability or whatever it may be. So
yeah, I think they were really happy for her. And again, this is the whole discussion that's happening right now in the jury, is that she's so high in everyone's rankings, but jurors have been like, yeah, this is what I personally want to happen. But like, if I'm voting for who deserves it, my list is different. And I think a big hindrance to Megan so far has been the fact that they don't really know what she's pushed in this game. Like, what has she done to push her own narrative forward? Because she's had no power. All she's had is her vote every round, minus a few rounds where she was a final nominee. But like, what has she done? And I think people had a lot of questions around that. And I think this is finally a round where she can go, I had a stamp on something. I said, no, you're not going to have an opportunity to send me home. Even though we know that she was fine up against Jabbar, wouldn't have mattered. But it's nice to not have to worry about it. But Megan wins the veto, and let's get to the whole hoopla of it all. Liv is not putting up Megs. She's like, it would be dumb of me to do that because she knows that Trey and Megan are going to evict her. And that's not what she wants. She doesn't want to have to put herself in a final 5 situation where she has to win veto. Sure, like, absolutely, could this backfire? And honestly, the only way I see this backfiring is if we have a non-Megs HOH, and then Megs wins the veto and Liv is second place. That's the only way this backfires. Because if Liv gets third or fourth and Megs still wins, Liv still wouldn't have won without Megs there anyway. Wouldn't have mattered. And therefore, she still loses anyway. But like, the only way this backfires is non-Megs HOH, Megs wins veto when Liv is in second. Then we go, well, maybe, just maybe, then you should have taken out Megs. But again, that's so results oriented. Yeah, it sucks. But like, it could happen. Or Megs wins the HOH and takes the shot. It could happen. But right now, to her knowledge and to our knowledge, Megs is not taking that shot, because she also is playing the game of, I want Liv in the final 4, and maybe, just maybe, I can convince that sole voter to take her out instead of me. She's also playing the same game of like,
it's a little leapfrog
into a win.
I had a really intrusive bad thought last night when I was on my airplane, and I was thinking, this is maybe the one time though that I would be interested in a discourse around, okay, you want Jabbar to stay, you want Megs to leave. These are things that are not easily attainable. Is there Is there a world where it would work for Megan to just veto Jabbar?
No.
Terrible idea.
Well, because Michael's still going to go up, babe. I mean, sure.
Michael's going up, and
I
then
mean,
Megan is going out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that was originally what I got to, but I was thinking like if there was a world to ever even consider that, like to take Jabbar off the table, if Liv felt that threatened by like that many threats, would Liv then, like knowing Jabbar was still going to be in the game, would Liv then be like, maybe now I put up Megs? I don't know. I don't think that's the answer, but I was trying to think about like what would that world look like.
I think it gives me very BBH15 where Tommy's like, oh, Hammond, you don't want me to use the veto? Fine, I'm using it. And then Hammond goes, fine, then I'm putting up your top ally in Ashton. Fuck you then. Like it feels very retaliation. So like she's gonna be like, fine, you want Jabbar out? I'm vetoing Jabbar. And she goes, fine, I'm putting up Michael and you're going home. Like Liv's not gonna give a rat's ass. She's gonna be like, fuck you then, go home. Like toodles. So I think Megan makes the right decision to veto herself, even though possibly like that's the thing. It would come down to Trey. Like Jabbar would save Megan, but it would come down to Trey and what he does.
It would force Trey to finally like show some cards, and I think whatever happens tonight is going to force Trey to show some cards, which is also really helpful.
I just think people are going to look sideways at someone who chooses to evict Michael over Megan. I just think people are going to be like, now, are you trying to win? Are you like, why would you not keep the goat in?
Now,
who promised you a final 2?
Will that principle apply if people decide to get tricky tonight? Like, and keep Jabbar over Michael?
That's the thing. Is
I don't think that will happen, to be honest. Like Trey and Megs are pretty locked on getting rid of Jabbar, and Megan, I don't think she cares enough about that potentially to do anything about it. And I think Trey is, and I think Megan is also will get here eventually, but they're smart enough to realize that if that's the case, then they have to have a perfect execution of booting Liv, Megs, and Jabbar.
Imagine facing those 3.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
Right.
hard. It's a terrible just setup for you. Like you have to have a perfect run to not be up against them. Sure, I get the GOAT takes a spot from you. I get that. But for Trey, who honestly right now that might be his only shot at winning is against Michael, I think the jury's going to be like, now, what are you doing? Like that was your only shot right now. And
I'm really surprised that the jury's so low on Trey, to be honest. I think Trey has played a fantastic game. And I don't know if it's a could have been me thing, with them. Like, because I think like Trey's story of being willing to turn on Black Coffee for Caro and then immediately being re-insulated with the other side, I think is what is separating it.
I think the problem is that the person who can speak the most positively to Trey's game is in the pre-jury.
Yeah.
I mean, he just gives me Crystal vibes, like how Crystal was so willing to go wherever she needed to go, and she would do whatever the fuck she wanted, and she was so cutthroat in that element, and the final moments being like, and it's what I'm doing, and I'm so sorry if you don't like it, but that's what I'm doing. I think the jury could be higher on Trey after he speaks on his game, but I'm a little shocked that they're as low on him as they are. I definitely would have expected more fanfare.
And the reality is the jury is comparing 6 people right now. At the end, they only have to compare 2. So things will change dramatically as they always do. And if we've learned anything, none of this matters until the questioning happens in finale night.
Sorry. Freaking dog. Anyway, but Liv is now between nominating Trey and Michael because those are her only options after she says she's not putting up Megs for the obvious reason of she doesn't want Megs to go and she knows she leaves if she puts her up. So she calls Trey and Trey's like, yeah, no, not really trying to volunteer here because the last time you said in a final 6 situation that the renom was fine, that was Caro, and we all know what happened to her. So no thanks, would prefer to not go up on the block. So Liv's like, fine, I'll go call Michael. So then she calls Michael, and Michael's like, Yeah, no, not really a fan of volunteering for the block here. So good luck in that, though. So then they hop on call together in Caro's Revenge. And this is where, the big contention happens where Liv obviously is wanting some compassion from the two of them. Being
Right.
Megs
No.
is voting far out, and whoever doesn't go up on the block, you will save the person who I put on the block. You will also evict Jabbar. We're fine here. And they're like, but you have an option in Megs here. And I think the issue is she should have just said it. She should have just been like,
I know you'll evict her.
I know you're
girl.
evicting.
I know. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, I'm not doing it because I know you're going to evict her. And Michael clearly is clueless. He has no clue what the fuck's going on because he's over here being like, just put it Megs. We're fine. We're dancing Queen Strong. She's over here, but and maybe she thinks that they both know this and she just like is not wanting to say it because like it's just the elephant in the room. No, Liv, just say it. Be like, y'all, I know you're evicting Megs. I put her up there and I don't want that. So I'm putting up one of you because I know I'll get what I want, and that is for Jabbar to leave. And I'm not giving y'all the opportunity to take out Megs. I wish she just would have said it and called it a day, but instead she's still playing this game of please don't hate me. We're still final three. Like we're still together, and one of you is gonna win the final 5 HOH, and we're gonna be so good, and all this crap. And then today, on day 32, she messaged the group being like, did any of you wake up so badly wanting to volunteer and make my life so magical by wanting to go up on the block?
Baby, that would piss me the fuck off so badly. It would make me so angry. And you know what? I love watching it because it was so uncomfortable. And I loved that, number one. But then to see Michael, he's so irritated for the first time in this game to break the facade and be like, what the fuck is going on? I was fucking living for that shit. It was so good. Because I was eating my popcorn. I was like, yes, ma'am, this is so good.
I do agree that Liv should tell them like, hey, I know you're evicting, but obviously like Michael doesn't know that. I think that if she did that though, she would have had to renominate Trey in that scenario, because if you're already outed their like what they want to happen, then you've given Megan and Trey absolute permission to just evict Michael against Jabbar. Whereas I think Trey creates a little bit, I don't know. I'm a fan of the keeping Meg safe move. I'm not a fan of the potential putting Michael up move, because I think that Liv can trust a Michael to do exactly what he says he's going to do.
Yes.
And she's clocked that before too. And so I don't understand why you're putting a stable, consistent voter into a non-voting position.
Yeah. I mean, and
here's the issue though. It didn't matter if she it doesn't matter if she puts up Trey or Michael. She's losing them both here because of the way she handled the conversation.
Yeah.
And I would be willing to bet that she loses both of them if she nominates one of them, period. Even if she handles it perfectly and says the things that we're saying that she should have said, I think she loses both of them. No matter what. And Carl is absolutely right in what he's stated the last couple of days, that like Liv knows she needs to win out. She shouldn't be giving a fuck what these people think. Like she can just make the move that's best for her game. 100%, I agree with that. The issue is that she got on there and she fucked around with trying to like appease everyone and make it like, happy hunky go Dories, please volunteer for me, yada yada yada. And she's now exiled both of them away from her. So now that if there was even a shot that they would save her, now it's fucked up and it's not gonna happen. Like Michael saying today he would evict Liv, baby, you fucked up. Baby, you fucked up.
I don't buy it though. I don't buy it from Michael. I do. I can't.
I buy it from Michael.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can.
He was pissed, Josh. He was so mad.
Sure, but like he also like set himself up to be in this position now, and I, at least internally, I don't know if I ever said this out loud, did not mind him volunteering for the block at Live Night or whatever that was. Like I didn't mind that because he was going to be just fine. But like you also can't get away with doing that and saying that you're willing to go to bat for your people over and over again. And then in this one time, this person that you've told over and over and over again how much you love, respect, adore, would lay your life over for, and then all of a sudden now you're needed and you say no.
But this
No.
this is where
Really
Liv handled it. Like I think Liv's first mistake was making this a three-way call. The first call, like you should be doing this one-on-one. Go to
No,
Michael.
she did it one-on-one first. She did it one-on-one first, and because both said no, she's like, well, maybe a group environment will be better.
So what she should have done though is been like, Michael, these people are going to evict Megs if Megs goes up.
Yeah, and she didn't say it. And that's
And she should have just said, Trey needs to be the person that goes up, and I need you to save him. And that's where it should have stopped.
Yeah.
Well, and
That's-
these are the consequences of this HOH, and that's perfectly fine. She was good. I stand firm. She had to win here at 6, and she has to deal with whatever consequences come. And it really did not matter what she did. She put the right 2 people on the block to start with, and from that point forward, there's not much she could have done. She has to nominate Trey or Michael, and one of them is going to be. And like you said, it didn't matter. Like if she handled it perfectly. I think she could lose Trey. And even if she does lose Michael, I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter.
Michael's vote.
It will matter at Final 5 if she needs his vote, or at Final 4 if she needs his vote.
At 4, yeah. 5 it won't, because Megan and Trey, it doesn't matter.
You think Michael's going to be the voter?
At 4?
No, he could be if he's left.
I guess he could be. He could be if he's. Yeah. I'm associating the veto winner as usually the voter.
And there's a situation at Final 5 where the block is Liv and Megan, and Michael's a voter. Like, and then if he needs her vote, and if she needs his vote, and he doesn't give it to her, like, hello, like this,
I guess my thinking though here is that it really doesn't matter votes that Liv needs, because I think unless Megs is still in the game, like Liv doesn't survive a block as a final nominee, period.
Yeah, if it's not Liv and Megs, it doesn't matter. And against Liv and Megs, Michael's vote's unnecessary. At Final 5, if it's Liv and Megs on the block, Trey and Megan, regardless if they're both the voters or if one's HOH and one's voting, Megs is still going there.
So what's the better option? Is the bet for Liv? Is the better? Hello. Oh, I forgot we were meeting. I gotta go. Bye.
Okay.
Not even finishing the question. That's so wrong.
I know, truly. The better thing for Liv is, so like surely
here's my hot take. I think if it's Megs and Liv on the block at Final 5, I think they should evict Liv.
They should, but I think based on the conversations happening between Megan and Trey last night is that they will not. That they will evict Megs. As much as Trey is upset with Liv that he's even being considered here, he has no relationship with Megs, and Megan sees Megs as the front runner, which is fair. I think Megs is there's validity to her being the front runner. I in my heart think that Liv has a better game and a better story to tell. But as of right now, I think the jury does value Megs more right now. So I think it's a valid reason to take out Megs over Liv. So I think right now, even if losing Michael's trust right now at Final 5, as long as it's Liv and Megs as the final noms, I still think she's fine. As of right now, TBD. But
I think my issue with a lot of this is that they're so upset because they want Megs out, but they haven't really looped Liv into these plans to want to take Megs out rather than just wanting to get Megs nominated. And I
think they know that Liv is trying to protect her.
Yeah,
that is a valid, a verified piece of information that they know. Liv and Megs are trying to protect each other.
Liv has valued Trey, and I feel like Trey knows that Liv has valued Trey, and Trey doesn't just say what he wants more genuinely. And instead, in public, that 5, or at least to one another, is preaching dancing Queen strong.
It's so funny to watch them do that.
Was up as a volunteer, or when Trey needs a volunteer, like you're saying, no matter what, we got you. Willing to go.
Lee, you're breaking up, babe.
Bro, the internet is unstable.
It's because I'm upstairs. But Trey not willing to go up just sends a big red flag that's all of a sudden I don't trust the alliance because I want to backstab them.
I have no issue with Megs and Michael and Trey not making this easy on Liv. I have no issue with them refusing to volunteer or fighting against going on the block. They are actually valid in choosing to do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Trey and Megan hopped on call, and Megan's like, was Liv receptive to the Megs renom? And Trey's like, I didn't push that hard, because if I push too hard, then she's going to know that I'm going to evict her, even though he doesn't realize that he already kind of let that cat out of the bag the day prior when he said, oh, I don't know about Megs. I don't fully trust her for Final 4 just yet, but we can get there. He's already left the cat out of the bag, but he's trying to play this tightrope game of oh, like, yeah, Meg's renom, that's fine. Like, like Jabbar can still go, but he's also still trying to push it, but not push it too hard. Like, he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. But like, Liv is already fully aware of what's happening. She's like, I'm not doing it, and that's what's pissing Trey and Michael off so much. Is that they're like, you can't say you want a final three with us and then jeopardize one of us, even though from Liv's perspective, she's not jeopardizing anything. Because ultimately, the only person who would jeopardize the trio would be the voter she leaves to vote, and if they decide to backstab Michael. So if she puts up Michael and she's like, well, Trey, the trio is on you. You keep the trio in, or you don't keep the trio in. That's on you. And that's how Liv's kind of viewing it. She's like, I'm not jeopardizing the trio. You would be. But like, yeah, like Megan and Trey have that call where they're like, we can't push too hard for Megs because then, she knows, and then she's definitely not going to do it. That's the call where they discuss maybe saving Jabbar that Megan brought up, and Trey's like, nah, not really down for it because he thinks that Michael will join them in taking out Megs and Liv because Michael's going to be upset that he has to go up here, which is true, especially after Liv told Michael, stop volunteering for the block. And then here she comes running. So I need to volunteer for the block. After she specifically told Michael to stop volunteering, but now wants him to volunteer. Truly, the consequences.
Maybe I have no sympathy for Liv. I love Liv. I think she's playing fantastic. I have zero sympathy for her in this. Like you literally opened your mouth and insert your foot and then tried to pull it out toe by toe. Like, girl, that is not how this works. Like, and good for Michael for not taking the bait on that. Like, honestly, like I know we've been tracking like Michael's ability when it comes to assessing situations, the strategic ideas, whatever it is, you know what I mean, whatever the case is. I think Michael is playing really well for where he's at as an orger. Like, I don't have an issue with the things that he's doing, the way he's playing, the decisions he's making based on his limited org experience, his limited knowledge of these types of games, these types of situations. I think he's really come into his own in this season and played really well. And even if he doesn't have the best shot at winning, I think he might have the best shot of getting to the end. And I think like that is impressive in of itself. At the same time, he has literally every single person tripping over themselves to try and take him to the final two because they think they can beat him. Absolutely. But like, but his path he should feel like he has a clear path no matter what decision he makes. Yeah. And I don't blame him. And I'm impressed by what we've seen out of him in this season as far as when he tells people information, when he doesn't tell people information, what he holds himself. Like, I feel like he's playing really optimally for where he's at. In like against this cast, obviously this cast is fucking amazing and great game players. And Michael has really grown a lot, and I'm really impressed with what he's displayed. I guess it's hard against this field. It just is hard against this field.
Yeah, like he's not going to win the season, and that's fine. Like it's his second time playing an org against Jabbar, who's played a billion, Megan, who has got the org itch and has played a good chunk, Megs, Liv, like he's up against a Trey, a huge caliber of org vets who know what they're doing. He's just out of his league as a second time orger, and that's okay. And he's not going to win, and that's okay. But like he's grown a fuck ton from 16 till now, and like that should be applauded and rewarded. And I mean, again, sometimes it's about the journey, not the destination. He won't walk away with the crown, but the journey that he's grown to this point is really strong. And the next org he plays in, I got my eyes on him as someone who will get the full experience, will know better of how to approach an org.
I don't think Michael ever expected to win this game. Yeah. I think Michael has hit every major point that he wanted to hit in this game, and he said this a few times about like, if this is where I go out, I'm so like happy, and this has been like such a great experience. Like, I don't think he ever anticipated making it this far. Period. Like, let alone to have a shot to win. So, I think with Michael, it's like, and I know you've been saying this for a while, Carl, of like, he can't win, so I need him to go. And I get
Yeah.
that. Like I get it. Like because it just makes it less competitive as
Yeah.
we are coming down the stretch here, and I totally understand that. But I'm
Sorry,
like
Michael.
I'm loving every ounce of this lemon that we can, like every little ounce that we can get of this lemon out of it. I'm enjoying it along the way because it's been such a fun thing to watch for him.
Yeah, you're Tifoser, who's typing in the comments, you're giving him a lot of credit for him to be able to explain this at final 2.
That's I certainly am worried for what a Michael in a final 2 would look like for him.
I don't want it to be like him kind of get obliterated because like people have a lot of questions about like, what is your game? What did you do? What is something you did alone for yourself in this game? And the answer is nothing. He's always had someone helping him, and I just don't want that for him. I just don't think he's ready and prepared for a final jury questioning, especially against the other 5. I just don't want that for him. I don't want that to be like the cherry on top to his experience as a really terrible finale. I don't want that for him. So if, like, for his sake and my viewing pleasure, I don't want him to be at the end because I'm going to feel really bad for 2 hours watching all these jurors be like, that was a bad answer. That was a bad answer. That was a bad answer. So I just don't want that.
Do you think that there's any like potential where they're like grading on a curve with Michael?
Based off of the rankings, my gut says no.
I think
he's dead last for everyone except I think Erica has him at 4th, but only because she likes him, but she fully recognizes that he likely is last on deserving. And I think he's 5th for Sarah, but everyone else is dead last. So my gut says they're not grading on a curve. But
yeah, like maybe in a finale situation, they're like, that's the best answer that he could give us right now. Like, you know, that's his. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think, like I said, I don't think Michael's winning, but that's fine. It is what it is. Like,
I don't think it's that much, but what I think could happen for Michael is that because he doesn't really, like, he's not going to overthink or try to take credit for a lot of things. Like, I don't see a juror necessarily feeling burned by something Michael says in a final, like, whereas someone else may try to take credit for something a juror did, or a juror may not feel like they stroked their ego enough. Like, Michael is really good at stroking other people's ego, or just building them up, or hyping them up, or making people feel some type of way about how passionate he is. And, you know, you see kind of like the Michael hyping himself up, like talking, you know, to you, and you root for him.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you'd even see when Michael would send goodbye messages, like when he sent to Erica and she's like, I want him to win. And, you know, obviously she's kind of come down off of that. But if he gets you in the high of like listening to everything he says, I don't disagree that he could get some votes.
Oh, yeah.
So my one question is
no, he can get some votes. Is he getting 5? No. If this was the BBH12 jury, he could get 7.
But you know what? Jag won Big Brother, so
drag them.
I assume
I
we're
will
talking
always
about
drag
Michael.
the BBH12 jury any chance I get. I will drag them until the cows come home. And I live in Las Vegas. They're never coming home.
I don't think Michael's going to yell at someone for eating a deli sandwich, but
shut up.
Oh.
Goodbye.
I
Anyway,
do remember what I was going to say before I left.
what's your question?
What I was going to say was, what's better for Liv in Final 5? Is it better for Megs to win HOH or not?
I think it's better for her to win. Because I truly
think I disagree.
I don't think Megs is taking a shot at Liv as of right now. To my knowledge, she's not taking a shot at Liv, so she's not going to nominate Liv. And the only way Megs would nominate Liv is if the person who's also not on the block uses the veto.
Right. That's the other,
very possible.
The only way.
Which I feel like is very possible. If Michael is to believe that he would be willing to take a shot at Liv, and Megan and Trey. So if Michael's off the block and he wins, very unlikely. But
You're unlikely.
but you know, but whatever, you know, whatever. Also, like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Not this.
What's next for Monica? Great deep cut.
Very. If and for all the nerds that got it, I see you. But like, if Megs wins, Megan and Trey are on the block. Fine. One of them comes off. Is she putting up her final 2 in Michael,
I think if Liv promises
especially if she's
not to, then it doesn't matter. That's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Megs will have to make that decision. Is she willing to do it? And I just don't. And again, Megs has not given us much in terms of her plans here. All she's talked about is this final.
I don't think she's a planner. I think that's my hot take about
that
Megs.
might be it. She might just be
like after watching her in 17 and now in 20, I think she takes it round by round. I don't think she's a forward, like, not in a bad way. I just don't think that she's like I'll assess that if I win, if I get there.
I think that Megs has enough trust though in people to take them at their word for things. So like if Megs wins and Megan and Trey are up and Trey comes off for some reason, I think that Megs could say, all right, I'm going to put up Liv, but Michael, you're going to save her. And Michael has no reason to feel burned by Megs to like go against what she asks him to do. So I could see him honoring his word to Megs, maybe not necessarily to do it for Liv, but to at least honor like his relationship with Megs.
If Liv's up against Megan, I think that's very valid. I don't see Michael evicting Trey, but
no.
I don't think he has a great relationship with Megan comparatively.
And then if I'm Michael, then what, I'm sitting there being like, what the fuck? Like my final two, like, so first my
actual
one of my number ones puts me on the block at final 6, and then my actual final 2 puts me on the block at final 5. Like then it's like, who knows what Michael does at that point? Like,
so, but I think my gut says it's better for Liv if Megs does win. It gives her an extra avenue, assuming Megs doesn't take the shot, which who knows if she will not. It'll be a game time decision, but I think Liv's fighting for the veto regardless. I don't think it matters who wins HOH. She's fighting for it regardless. But I think there's possibly a chance if Megs wins HOH that Liv doesn't even touch the block.
Yeah.
I was a late take. Let's see.
If you know you got to win out, then your second priority has to be to protect the people who would be most likely to keep you around, even if they ultimately don't.
Yeah. And with Megs leaving, there's no scenario where Liv doesn't get nominated next year.
Yeah, none. She's on the block before the competition.
So it's like, do you want a stale cookie or no cookie at all if you're starving? It's
again, I see both sides to the idea that Liv takes Megs out at 6 or she keeps her on. I see the pros and cons to both sides, and it'll be what happens here at 5 will ultimately decide if she made the right choice or not. But I think the only way I look back at this and go, she made the wrong decision, is if Megs does not win HOH, or if Megs does win HOH and takes the shot. If Megs wins the veto and Liv is second place, then I will look back on that moment and go, you know what, maybe you should have taken Megs out. But like, if she gets third, it doesn't matter because she would have lost the veto regardless.
Here's my hot take. I think if Megs wins HOH in Final 5 and keeps Liv off the block, it tanks for equity with the jury. So I don't think she should do it.
That's the
thing. Because the jury has the perspective that if one of those 3 gets to the end, they're gonna win. Yeah. So why would you allow them to get any closer to the end than you should? And so if Megs protects Liv at Final 5, they're going to look at her and say, why would you do that? Just like they're potentially going to look at Liv at this round and say, why would you let Megs stay around? Right? Like
I agree. I think the thing though that it's just like I want to challenge the jurors and a lot of these other players is that so much of the relationships in this game, like alliances forged, anything like that, have been based on who did I play another game with, whether it was an Endure or my past season, or who do I have like this really like superficial thing in common? Like we were all pre-jurors. And I feel like Liv and Megs actually came together out of like a necessity. Like they came together out of something in the game. And so I have so much respect for them being able to speak to that and like that adaptability rather than just like hanging on to things that bonded to them to people outside of this game. And I think they do that.
I want them to be challenged on, and I think I think it's hard. And again, that's why I have people like Stokes on here to challenge me and how I think as well. Is like I want people to look past what they think is a good move in this game, because that was really why I was wanting to throw my laptop across the room, and I needed people to be like, well, think about it from their perspective. And I just don't agree. I have thought about it. I just don't agree with them.
And I have,
That's-
and I still don't.
And that's fine, but and that's super valid.
I just want people to be able to like see from different put your feet in their shoes and try to think about what they should do. Because Jabbar, Megan, and Trey last night were like, Liv's being a big old dum-dum by not taking out Megs here. And I ultimately just don't think that's true, because I think
It's an echo chamber, though. Like, it's just like literally all that is just an echo chamber. Like, they're upset because they're not getting what they want next to be evicted. And they're just participating in this echo chamber where they're like, I can't believe that this is what she would do. If that continues into the jury, then that's something. I think being upset in the moment and venting to your close allies there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion.
Maybe I just am like shocked and maybe they do see it and just won't acknowledge it. But I'm just like shocked that they're like sitting there being like, this is a bad move for Liv. I'm like, was it though? Because you were all because the two of you were sitting there being like, well, I'm still gonna get rid of Megs, even though Liv pissed me off with this move. I'm still targeting Megs at Final 5, which is the exact reason she's doing it. And like, I'm like, do y'all not see it, or are you just not willing to acknowledge it? And maybe it's a mix of the both, and who knows? But I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, just take the moment and recognize that Liv is making a good move for herself, and she recognizes that y'all are going to target Megs over her, and she's taking that opportunity to maybe, just maybe, get to 4 without having to win shit. But it's just like, last night I just like wanted to throw it. But I'm hoping these jurors get challenged if they do think that if Megs keeps Liv off the block at 5, if they go, I wonder if she knows something we don't, and she's doing it because she knows something that is
They
going
won't. Jurors never.
Well,
well, I'm hoping. Damn it.
so much of this is and has to be results oriented at times. Like with Liv's HOH, the only way I think Liv's HOH is a bad HOH is if she gets 5th place. That's the only reason I think it's bad, if she gets 5th place. But I think so much of this is going to be, if Liv gets to the end, then you can't say too much about how this is a bad move for her. Now, you can say, like, this was a bad move for me personally, like as a player who is sitting on the jury, like, it's bad for me. But you should at least, I think, to Carl's point, I'm interested to hear the finalists say why it was a good move for them, and like open you up and enlighten you to like what else was going on that they saw. Like, if Liv can say to people like Megan and Trey, hey, I wouldn't put up Megs because I knew you all were going to evict her, because I knew that you all were going to prioritize each other and Jabbar over me. Like, that's something that they can't really contest.
Yeah.
They can say, it fucked me over and I'm on the jury, but they can't really say, you're wrong, I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah. And also, this cast needs to stop thinking Liv and Megs are like superhuman at challenges. I think that's also a big issue. Like, they were like, if she takes out Megs, she wins every competition from here on out. And I'm like, that's just not true. Liv got murdered.
She's ineligible for 1-for-1.
Like, sure, does Liv have a higher odds of winning with Megs gone? Absolutely, sure. But like, Liv isn't perfect. Liv has lost plenty of challenges she's tried at, with Megs or without Megs. So like, even if Megs is gone, it's not a.
I've been waiting for the moment to say this. Liv is winning that crime board if she gets there.
Oh, for sure. But like, that ain't till 4.
Maybe. Megan gets out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much she studied. I mean, I will say,
It'll be a
like,
challenge.
yeah, I mean, naming challenges is a lot easier than remembering all the vote counts and all that shit. But like, it did give me some faith that Megan has, has a chance there. I mean,
I think Megan's probably her biggest competition in that competition. Would be my guess.
But we'll get there when we maybe we'll see if we get there between who ultimately is there. At least 2 of Megs, Megan, and Liv will be there. It's just a question of, will all 3 of them be there? Yeah, I mean, again, it'll be results oriented. I know people are on this side and people are on that side about should she take the shot at Megs. We'll have to see. I just, Liv is just not indestructible. She's not fucking perfect. If she was winning every challenge and the one she lost, she was 2nd place to Megs, and I'd be like, get rid of her. But like, Liv has gotten 6th, plenty of vetoes. She's sucked many of vetoes, and I get why she doesn't have a lot of faith that she can win out. She feels confident in 4 and 3 because she feels confident in the veto at 4, and she feels confident in part 2 of the final HOH. She knows those will absolutely be game trivia, and she's right. Her fear is, what is the 5 veto? Is the 5 HOH game trivia and the 5 veto isn't, or is it flip flop? Or are they both game trivia? She just doesn't want to take that gamble. Is what my gut is saying, even though she hasn't said it, that she just doesn't want it to be another skills based challenge, and she's dead in the water, and Megs is gone, and there's nothing that she can do besides lie there and die. So, but we'll see. We will see. It'll be something that it's just, we won't know until it happens, and we'll look back on it and go, you should have done this, should have done that. But I think Liv is making the right decision for in the moment what she thinks will happen and giving her the most roads to the Final Four.
Well, and good thing that we were patient as a production team to wait all the way until Final 6 to have the true Final 6 round.
Truly proud of us. Really proud of us. Really, really, really proud of us that we love the Final 6 so much.
We were like, we're giving you 2 Final 6 rounds so you can really make your Final 6 round worth it.
Yeah.
The fact that this is the like least dramatic Final 6 that we had all season.
The vote hasn't happened yet.
But it's the most strategically interesting, I would say. I mean, we've spoken for an hour and a half about this.
It is strategically interesting, but we haven't even seen the vote happen yet. And I think that whenever we see I am not convinced that Jabbar is leaving tonight. I am not convinced. Like, I am like 80% there, but
you should be a lot higher than that.
I'm kind of for the people. I think I'm kind of rooting for it a little bit.
If Michael is like, I just feel like other conversations might happen, and the way that Megs is all of a sudden having this like clairvoyance of like, I know that Liv and Trey and Michael are a team, and this is now starting to scare me. If that happens, I think once the noms are final, like other discussion, Jabbar is not going to give up. He's staying quiet right now. He's not getting.
It would be so stupid to not evict Jabbar.
Oh yeah, they would be very stupid to not evict Jabbar.
So dumb.
But I just don't think it's going to be that clean.
Worst move of the game. If they don't evict Jabbar at Final 6, worst move of the game.
Oh yeah, it'll be bad.
Like Megs,
disagree.
Based on how Megs is talking to people, she's done with the social relationship. She doesn't fucking care anymore. Like, Megs is in win or go home mode. She does not give a rat's ass how Jabbar feels about her. She's not going to try and build a one-round relationship with Jabbar here to try and get up. Like, she doesn't care. Megs is locked and loaded to win to get to the end. I just don't think she cares. And I just don't see Trey turning on the GOAT who has offered you a Final 2. Like, I think Trey, like, you don't pass that up. You don't pass up the slam dunk who wants to bring you.
Turn down the GOAT. If you're not the person that wins comps to be able to take the GOAT, then you probably need to rethink that.
Well, that, but also Jabbar
and make himself the GOAT.
Yeah, like, but also like I don't think Trey has confidence that Jabbar's going to bring him to the end. Like, that's the thing. Like, if Jabbar had promised the world to Trey and Jabbar meant it, then maybe I would have some leniency for Trey to save Jabbar here. But like, if I'm Trey and hearing all the things that he said, I wouldn't have faith that Jabbar is bringing me to the end.
I don't
like,
know that I have a lot
not
of
Liv spinning a wheel.
Babes,
I have a lot of faith that anyone is bringing Trey.
Girl, how many times did she spin that fucking wheel until?
That's what I'm gonna ask. How many times you spin that?
How many times did you spin that? Because I landed on Trey 5 times.
I think Trey is in a bad spot, personally. I think that no one is bringing Trey to the end, and I don't think that Trey is showing a lot of in-game comp prowess, and I just feel like we're losing Trey at 4th. I think that's probably the best his game goes at this point.
Well, he's in a bad spot because the people in the game perceive him as a bigger winner contender than the people in the jury, which is a terrible spot to be in, where you actually don't have a lot of winner equity, but the people in the game think you do. That's a terrible spot to be in.
Because I think right now, and I think my bone to pick with a lot of people is, if you're good, you're good, or if you feel like you can tell a story, you can tell a story. Like, worry about how you defend yourself at the end, second to how you get to the end. And someone like Trey, like, I don't think it's a horrible move for Trey to keep Jabbar, because Jabbar probably helps Trey get further than Michael does, because Michael's not winning these endgame comps either to help Trey.
mean, sure. I just think when you lose against everyone but Michael right now, and sure, maybe he doesn't realize that or doesn't know that, but like, if I'm Trey, sure, I still think I'm playing a great game, but if you think that you're going to out-talk Jabbar, Megs, and Liv, you're crazy. And by getting rid of Michael here, you and Megan have to run the table and ensure all three of them leave. And I wouldn't have faith in that group, even if I am Megan or Trey, to be like, are we going to run the table and take out Jabbar, Liv, and Megs back to back to back in some order? I don't know about that. Like, I don't know about that. I just would not have faith in that. Take a shot at one of the people who for sure is going to outtalk you and has a way better game than you do and has won a game. Like, one.
If I'm not winning a lot of comps, I'm not so worried about who can beat me at the end. I'm just worried about who can get me there. But
absolutely, give yourself the best chance to actually get to the end. And I just don't think Jabbar is prioritizing Trey here.
But who is that can actually get him there?
Michael is. But that's the thing. Michael is the only person, and Michael and Megan are the only people prioritizing Trey here. Sure, are they the best comp people? No, but not like Jabbar is. He's won 3, but like he's been pretty awful at shit too.
Sure.
Michael is prioritizing you. You keep Michael, even though he's not going to win shit. You keep Michael. You also can beat Michael. Michael's a vote for you if you're on the block. Michael will save you for sure. Hands down, unless you're against Megs, maybe. I don't know. TBD on what Michael's actually going to do. Would Jabbar bring Megan? I feel like he would. I feel like he has.
I think he might. He might be the only person who would. I think.
Like, Megan is one of the only people who has not burned him in this game, and Jabbar's out for revenge, as his prod chat has established. He's like, "Fuck Liv, she done did that. I will vote for her at the end if she's there." He was pissed at Trey. Like, Megan is someone who is yet to burn him yet, and I think he actually would try to work with her. So like I feel like Jabbar would prioritize Megan, and dare I say he would try to work with Megs to get Liv out and like give Megs another round further because he's out for revenge.
Which is more reason I think for like Megan and Megs. Like if I'm not saying that they should, I don't think it's a good move for Megs to save Jabbar, for the record.
No.
But I'm just saying I think that this vote is still very much alive. And
I'll believe it when I see it. I just think
that there's a lot that can happen because Megan is not going to lay down and die about saving Jabbar. Like, I think, especially against Michael. If it's against Trey, it's a different story because she will prioritize Trey against Jabbar. But if it's against Michael, Megan is going to at least see, like, it doesn't hurt Megan to explore how possible it is to save Jabbar here. And I don't think it's a bad move for Megan.
I think right now when Michael is dying for new allies, I think and again, he will only be a voter at the end of the day for the rest of the game, most likely. I mean, be careful, because if Trey and Megs aren't budging and you try really hard to take out Michael and he's aware of that, you stay at the bottom of the list, babes.
Or you just make sure Michael's not a voter either.
Yeah, I just think Trey and Megan need to defy HOH, which is absolutely, I mean, that's their own damn fault that they've done, like, that they've had no agency this entire game because they were so Dancing Queen strong. And then they've been in a bunch of groups that have had like hive-like mentality to do things, but like those alliances were actually built in similar end game goals, like Bathroom D and Final 14 HOH and all that shit that Megan was in, and Trey's had a few of his own as well. I mean, sure, I agree that they need some agency. I just don't think saving Jabbar is the agency that they want to explore, but they should have explored some agency. I don't know, when you were HOH, Trey, at Live Night.
They need some agency. They really can't complain about the agency that they have the choice in because they have not won HOH. They didn't take the shot at Megs when they could, just like you said. Yeah. I believe more and more that Michael is going to leave tonight.
And if they save Jabbar, I will read their fucking asses because they will lose the game. You're on mute.
But are they going to lose the game anyway?
If they do that, if they evict Michael tonight, dumbest move.
Yeah, it's
in the history of BBH.
Oh damn! Okay, that's a big statement. I'll have to think about that.
I don't know. I just being dramatic. I think it's a really bad move though, and I feel like it would make a top 5 for sure.
Because With Michael, they both stand a chance to win the game. They do. It's 3-on-2. It's 3-on-1 at this HOH. You save Jabbar. Jabbar's gonna do whatever the fuck he wants. No one's safe underneath Jabbar. Not a damn fucking soul.
Well, Megan is.
Megan is, but
that's why I say Megan is the only person who I think it is really not a bad move to save Jabbar.
And when Jabbar nominates Megan and Liv, Megs wins the veto, saves Liv, and forces Megan and Trey up on the block, and we all laugh at them like dumb fucks. Like I just think that Jabbar, this is not the time to try and defy the HOH's wishes to save Jabbar, who will smoke both of them easily. And just because, as much as Megan is a great talker, you don't know what it's like to be in that position until you're there. There have been Amanda Lindgren is a great speaker. She fucking fumbled the bag so fucking hard because she had no clue what to expect. She didn't expect the question. She didn't know how to prepare for a final jury questioning. And I think Megan's inexperience is a huge question mark for me coming into there, especially if you go into the end against Jabbar. Jabbar's ready. He's ready to take your game down and bring his game up. Like Jabbar's just not someone like I would take Liv, who has a much better game than Jabbar to the finals, and I would take Jabbar because Liv has proven that she can fumble the bag too. Jabbar don't fumble when he gets to the end. He doesn't. So Jabbar is just that person. You have to get rid of him. You have to. But and if they save him tonight and they go on to win the season, I'll come back and be like, I was wrong. But I will.
But I don't think we will be.
No, I just don't see a world. I just don't see a world in which Megan and Trey outlast those three in a final five. I just don't see a world in which that happens. How?
I don't either. I don't think they have to have a perfect execution. The only thing I could see potentially happening is that Liv, Megs, and Jabbar likely feel like they need to take the others out. Mm-hmm. Now, Megs is the type of player, and she told me this a long time ago, and it stuck with me. She doesn't give a fuck who she sits with at the end. She will sit against anyone at the end. She's not afraid, and she will represent herself to the best of her ability. So Megan could see herself, Megs could see herself sitting, against a Jabbar or a Liv and be perfectly comfortable with that. I don't think Jabbar and Liv see it that way. No. So I do think that in the event that in this event, I do think that those three are likely to be targeting each other. So let's just posit that one of them goes at 5. What happens at 4 when one of them wins HOH and the other one wins veto? Then you're losing a Trey or a Megan, and then you're fucked. So and they need that buffer. They need that buffer truly, and taking out Michael reduces that buffer, and it's such a bad decision. I
think my issue right now for Trey though is I just don't see a path for him to get very far. Period.
Yeah,
I just don't see, and so I don't know what a good move is for Trey. Because
not the person promising you
maybe Trey has final 2 with Liv and with Megan and with Michael, so I think he's got a path. He's gonna have to break some hearts on the way there, but I think he's got a path.
Yeah, like Liv ain't bringing him, and Liv would bring Michael, and Megan might bring Trey.
Kevin had a lot of deals last season, and and I think that they have such similar games. Like they played such similar, snaky behind the scenes, win a little something, show a little agency, but mostly your game's more undercover behind the scenes. And I just feel like Trey's gonna have the same fate as Kevin.
It could be. It could be. I think Trey does have pathways to the end, but I think that pathway includes Michael. I think Michael needs to be there. And I just think it'd be a really bad. And I think Trey knows that. That's why Trey shot down the idea immediately when Megan's like, do we save Jabbar here? And Trey's like, no, we don't do that. We just don't do that. And I think Michael could win a final HOH. I think he could win part 1. It's physical. And part 3 is all about, do you know these players? And most of his calls aren't strategic. They're social.
Yeah.
He could know what these people would answer these types of questions. Maybe he won't. I don't fucking know. But
yeah. I think he can win if he gets there. I think or win those comps if he gets there. I think Final 4 is going to be his bottleneck. I think it's going to be really, really hard for him to get out of that.
I think Megan gets evicted at Final 4 before Trey.
I think Megan. Final Four if Trey wasn't at Final Four.
It just depends who the voter is and what makeup we get there. I agree that probably if Megan and Trey are the final noms, I think Megan gets evicted probably in almost every situation. But who knows? Things will change from between here and now. Like if Trey goes against Liv's wishes here and evicts Michael, and then we get to a Final Four and Liv's the voter, she might have spite for Trey and go, well, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah.
So who knows? A lot can change here. But yeah, I mean, stick with us. We'll evict someone. Lee thinks it could be Michael. I think it'll be Jabbar tonight.
I think it could be like,
And I'll break the tie in favor of Jabbar.
I just want to like nix the feeling that this is a done deal because I think we're going to see a lot.
It's not over, but I don't have an 80% likelihood of Michael staying. I have it like 99.5.
Well, no,
like,
my 80% is Jabbar leaving, but but
I think it's
now, girl. No, wait a minute. You just said less than 5 minutes ago. I think more and more that Michael is leaving tonight.
No,
girl,
like,
you can't. Not the revisionist percentage history.
The thought is becoming. I said earlier, I said Jabbar is still like 80% leaving, but I just have this more and more intrusive thought that like Michael could leave. I think that they've already been exploring every possibility, and Megan is gonna go talk to Trey, and Trey's gonna say no, and then Megan's gonna say, okay, I'm gonna talk to someone else.
And the only other option is Meg's, and Meg's absolutely gonna say no. Like if any, like Trey's your only option here. Meg's is stubborn. When Meg knows what she wants, she knows what she wants, and she's adaptable. She's dynamic, but it has to be on her terms. No one's going to convince her of shit. Meg's will have to think of it on her own. You can propose the idea, and then she'll get back to you in 3 to 5 business days.
Do you think though that in tandem with her spiraling on this Liv Trey Michael thing though could get her there?
I just don't think she has faith that Megan or Jabbar is going to want to work with her.
If she feels like the other 3 are in a locked thing and that the other 3 are not, I mean, I don't know. And again,
I think it just gives her clarity about what she needs to do next round.
Yeah,
sure. I think that's like, and I think that even though her and Megan are at odds, they're gonna call today. I think if this gets brought up, I could see a world where Megs feels better about keeping. I don't think they're gonna align, because I think Megan wants Megs out. But I think that the clarity of like those 3 have a chat.
Yeah.
Michael has a chat with them as well as he has a chat with us. And it's not, and Tasty's kind of fallen off and they haven't really talked a lot in it. Yeah. And it's like, I highly doubt that that's the case with their chat. Yeah. I think that they potentially that Megs potentially could buy herself around where with Liv going at 5 and Meg's going at 4 in Megan's mind, but I don't think there's a world where they're aligning and being like, we're going to be in together. But like I could see it, I could see Meg's buying herself an extra round here with Megan.
Yeah, I would see like if Meg's wins power next round, Megan is not her target. Like that's just
I think it would be stupid of she's been telling people that Megan is her target and that has gotten back to Megan and vice versa. Megan has been saying she wants Megs out and it's gotten back to Megs. But I think if they can put that aside, I think it's silly. I think it would be silly for Megs to target Megan. And I do think that there's a world where it's better for Megan to target Liv than it is for her to target Megs.
Agree.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing at Liv's confessional or Stokes asked, how many times did you spin that wheel, babes? And she said, I actually did spin it once beforehand where I had Megs, Trey, and Michael all on the wheel, and it landed on Trey, and I said, oop, not that, and deleted Megs off the wheel and respun it. So I'm like, babes, just nominate Michael. Like, that's basically the same fucking thing. Like, sure, you didn't spin the wheel of just the 2 of them more than that time, but like, babes, the wheel landed on Trey. And you said, "Ooh, I don't like that. Let's fix the results here." Like, just not
it's almost like destiny is trying to tell her something. Almost like the world is trying to tell her that the best move for her is to nominate Trey.
Nip this in the bud. Destiny, as in the god of the Jesus Christ. God Almighty, not this. God, Jesus. On that note. Destiny is telling me that I need to end the stream.
Period.
Not
We'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, maybe earlier. It depends if we get it earlier because Trey isn't working tonight to do the live HOH. So TBD, but stick with us. Yeah, bye everyone. Fucking ridiculous.
Oh, we were really good. We didn't fight.
We didn't
at all.
fight. You know, like I think we only really why won't it end? We only really disagreed on the and by
Girl, it's still going.
I know. I don't know why. An error occurred. Please wait a moment, then try again. What the fuck? That's
Girl,
never...
we're still live. Hot mic.
Oh my god, it won't end. Oh my god, it won't end.
The stream is ongoing.
It won't end. Someone did end stream. See if